I really don't want to do this, man. What a day to make my return to movie reviews. Scream 7. The seventh installment of possibly the greatest movie franchise in horror history. Maybe not. Depends on what people think, but Scream 1 is my favourite horror movie. It holds a place in my heart. I love it. Everything. It was the turning point for horror movies. It took the corniness of the early 90s and late 80s and 70s and brought it into a new modern era at the time. Obviously, I was a little kid at the time, but as I grew up with it, I think I love everything about it. Great characters, good villain, good storytelling, surprises. The franchise hasn't been perfect, but one thing I did hold on to with Scream, what you can't get from every other franchise, is there's never been a bad one. There's been ones that don't hold up to the next one, arguably Scream 3, but there's never been a terrible one. And even with the carniness of it seemed like a parody of itself, when it felt like that, it was meant to feel like a parody of itself because it was a parody of Stab. We lost characters along the way, which had to happen, by the way. It had to happen. But we've lost actresses, we've lost actors, and who we lost was Melissa Barrera. And after Scream 4, it felt like, okay, 4, 5, 6, or 5, 6, 7 is a trilogy within. It's a separate trilogy within the franchise. They tried to bring it to a halt in Scream 3, and then they tried to bring something new, and it was going well. And I thought her character was great. Billy Loomis being her dad, storytelling was good. Very hard to make stuff cohesive in a different era from what's already been put before you, especially with a lot of people seeing Scream as their favourite movie. The eyes are on you, the scrutiny's already out, but they did good. And then Melissa got sacked because she said something we was always thinking about Palestine. Hey, wait there, let me fact check that. I swear she said something on behalf of Palestine, not the other way around. She got sacked anyway. And then we move us to Scream 7. Now, obviously, she got fired and was meant to be in this. And you can kind of tell. You can kind of tell that something happened and it feels like they rewrote this very quick. Does this movie have good moments? It does. Does it have good kills? It does. Does it lack something? It does. Was the movie terrible? No. While I was watching it, I didn't feel like I feel now. And I've only watched it an hour ago. The movie was released last night. I watched it an hour ago. It was missing something, and the first hour of this movie, apart from the nostalgia drab, I think what I will say is I feel like if you're a Scream fan, you might end up disappointed when this movie's over. If you're a casual viewer, you might be like, this movie was decent. But if you're a Scream fan that was born around the time and was about for when Scream was there originally, it might piss you off a little bit because it's a nostalgia dump. It felt like, I mean, you can tell there's no Wes Craven, obviously. He's not directing it because he's not here anymore. But they brought back Kevin Williams' son, I think, the writer of Scream. But when he wrote it before, he didn't direct it. Wes Craven did. Now he's wrote it and he's directed it. And you can tell. Lack of direction in this movie. Lack of substance in this movie. A lot of needless things. Nostalgia drab at the wrong times. Things for no reason. Stuff like Sidney Prescott's leather jacket. Leaning into the whole marketing behind this movie, because it actually hasn't been marketed that great, it's been around Stu Macher. The whole thing has been around Stu Macher. Is he going to come back? We heard his voice in the trailer. And that's what's kept, let's be honest, that's what's kept Matthew Lillard himself, but we love him, so it's kept everyone's intrigue to want to watch it for him. Did the movie disappoint? It really did. It really did. I would say that this is a mad statement, but I think this might be the worst. It's the worst of the movies. As I said previously, the parody is feel of, I keep getting confused. I think it's Scream 4 or 3. I think it's 3. Yeah, it's 3. It is 3. That feel is meant to be like that because it's Stab. Stab is a movie based on the events that happened in Woodsboro, and we're watching that. So we are watching Scream, and they are watching Stab. This movie felt like Us at home were watching Stab. It felt like a Stab movie. There was a lot of why questions left. Why is this happening? Why are you coming after Sydney again? If it's just the fact that you're a serial killer, then safe, but it doesn't require a movie. When the killer gets revealed, worst reveal out of all of them, makes no sense. The reason for why the killer done stuff makes no sense. Not to mention that when the killer appears for the first time in the movie, I knew who it was instantly. I'll be honest, it felt like ChatGPT wrote this movie. And I'm not being disrespectful to AI. I felt like somebody said to ChatGPT, we've fired Melissa and the studio needs something. So write us a movie in less than 2 pages. And that's what they come up with. It's meh. Now, as I said, while I was watching the movie, I didn't feel like this, but I didn't feel like anything incredible was going on. I just didn't feel like this. So many unexplained things. Yes, you have to take horror movies with a pinch of salt, because the thing with Scream, it's not supernatural. So Michael Myers does certain things and that you're like, it's Michael Myers, isn't it? Like when in Scream, Jason does something, Freddy does something, Ghostface does something. I'm like, why though? And how? And Ghostface is tall but you're not tall, or Ghostface is small but you're not small. Like Ghostface is strong but you're weak. You know, like that. So let me know what you think in the comment section. One thing I'm going to leave it with, which is the biggest gripe with the whole movie: zero character building. Zero character building. Obviously, there's characters that return. They don't need the character building. For all the new characters, brother, no backstory. Don't know who they are. Kind of know what they do in terms of occupation. Nothing else. Sidney Prescott's daughter. I like her in the Yellowstone program. In this, zero. She's not likable. She's a bit of a bitch of a teenager. And she's just there because she's Sidney's daughter. Let me know what you think in the comment section. That was my review of Scream 7. I'm very disappointed. And I have to give it a rating out of 10. I'm going to give it a 6 just because of Scream. Otherwise, we get 5 out of 10. Run.